NewJeans dragged into legal battle. What if the very beats that once pulsed through the veins of a generation's soundtrack were now echoing in empty courtrooms, stripped of their soul and traded for legal briefs? In the glittering yet unforgiving world of K-pop, where dreams are forged in late-night studios and shattered by boardroom battles, the saga of NewJeans unfolds like a tragic melody no one asked to hear, leaving fans worldwide clutching at faded photo cards and wondering if innocence can survive the corporate grind. It's a story that tugs at the heartstrings, reminding us how fragile the line is between artistic triumph and institutional captivity, and how one group's fight could redefine the rhythm of an entire industry. From their electrifying debut in 2022, NewJeans burst onto the scene like a fresh summer breeze, their tracks weaving nostalgia with futuristic flair in a way that felt both timeless and urgently now. Minji, Hani, Danielle, Haerin, and Hyein, barely out of their teens, captured lightning in a bottle with songs that didn't just chart, but reshaped the sonic landscape, earning them spots on global stages and in the hearts of millions. Yet beneath the polished visuals and viral dances lay the seeds of discord. Adore, the boutique label under HYBE's vast empire, had been built around the visionary Min Hee-jin, whose creative alchemy turned raw talent into cultural phenomena. When tensions erupted in early 2024, with accusations flying about attempted takeovers and concept thefts involving sister groups like ILIT, it felt like watching a family feud escalate into a full-blown war. The dismissal of Min as CEO in August of that year wasn't just a personnel change, it was the unraveling of the trust that had birthed their magic. As someone who's always admired the raw vulnerability in young artists pouring their souls into music, I can't help but feel a pang of sorrow for these girls, thrust into adulthood's harshest lessons far too soon. Their youthful exuberance now collateral in a battle over billions. Fast forward to July 2025, and the plot thickens with a submission that reads like a corporate mic drop. Adore hands over a dossier of demos to the Seoul Central District Court, not as gifts to the group, but as ammunition in their arsenal. These aren't rough sketches scribbled on napkins. They're 5 polished instrumental tracks, MR format, voices absent like ghosts in the machine. Part of a burgeoning list exceeding 5 songs, poised for what was meant to be NewJeans' inaugural full-length album. The judges, ever the skeptics in this drama, probed during the trial. Were these fresh compositions? Affirmative, came the reply from ADOR's lawyers, a quiet confirmation, laced with the weight of obligation. It was a calculated move, this evidentiary offering, designed to paint ADOR as the dutiful steward, tirelessly tilling the soil even as the harvest evaded their grasp. One can't shake the irony here. These beats, meant to liberate and uplift, now confined to folders of legal jargon, evoking a bittersweet ache for what could have been. Stadiums alive with synchronized cheers, not sterile hearings under fluorescent lights. It's disheartening, really, to see creativity weaponized, turning what should be a celebration of sound into a footnote in a fiduciary feud. Then, on that crisp Thursday, October 30th, 2025, ADOR steps into the spotlight once more, with a press statement that lands like a half-hearted olive branch extended over a chasm. Preparations for NewJeans' new album are complete, they declare, voices steady but eyes averted. And we await the group's return to activities. It's a line scripted for reassurance, yet it hangs in the air with an undercurrent of impatience, as if the machinery of the label hums on regardless, blueprints drawn without the architects who dreamed them. In the broader tapestry of K-pop's relentless churn, where groups like Blackpink once navigated similar contract quagmires, emerging scarred but stronger, this feels like an echo of history's unlearned lessons. I find myself reflecting on the human cost, the quiet nights these members might spend replaying melodies in their minds, wondering if the passion that ignited their debut still flickers amid the fog of litigation. There's a tenderness in that waiting, a fragile hope that perhaps reconciliation could coax these tracks to life. But but it's overshadowed by the gnawing fear that the essence of NewJeans might slip away unnoticed. Lurking beneath this procedural veneer, however, is the elephant in the studio. The glaring absence of Bana, the enigmatic collective whose fingerprints grace the anthems that defined the group. Beasts and natives alike, founded by Kim Ki-hyun, a longtime ally of Min Hee-jin, birthed the earworms that hooked the world. The sultry swagger of attention, the infectious bounce of Hype Boy, the ethereal pull of OMG, and the haunting intimacy of Ditto. Producers like 250, the moniker of Lee Ogong, whose beats blend retro R&B with modern minimalism, and Frink, master of layered harmonies that feel like whispered secrets, didn't just compose. They co-conjured a soundscape that evoked Y2K reverie without pandering, a girl next door glow that resonated from Seoul subways to New York lofts. Their alchemy was no accident. Rooted in Min's curatorial genius, it transformed NewJeans from promising rookies into paradigm shifters, amassing billions of streams and awards that lined shelves like trophies from a war already won. Yet these new demos? Devoid of Bana's touch, they're adrift in uncharted waters, prompting a tidal wave of backlash from fans who see not evolution, but erasure. Scrolling through online forums, one senses the collective grief. A murmur of, "This isn't them," that swells into a roar, evoking the same protective fury that gripped audiences during past idol scandals like the EXO contract disputes of yore. It's profoundly unsettling, this void, as if someone's rewritten a beloved novel, excising the chapters that made it unforgettable, leaving readers and listeners adrift in a hollow narrative. The court's verdict on that same October 30th drops like a gavel on glass, shattering any illusions of swift resolution. The exclusive contracts stand firm until 2029. Min Hee-jin's ousting deemed no grounds for breach, no vacuum in management to justify escape. NewJeans, through their steadfast legal team at Sejong, fires back with an appeal filed in the blink of an eye, their statement a clarion call. The trust is irreparably broken. Returning feels impossible. It's a moment ripe with dramatic tension, akin to the climactic standoffs in K-dramas where underdogs rally against Goliath. Yet here, the stakes are achingly real. Careers on hiatus, endorsements evaporating like morning mist. Drawing parallels to the industry's checkered past, one recalls how groups like TVXQ splintered under similar pressures, their members scattering like leaves in a storm, forever altered. My heart goes out to these five, their resilience a quiet fire amid the blaze. There's something inspiring in their refusal to bend, a reminder that true artistry isn't chained to contracts, but blooms in defiance. Yet the ruling's cold logic stings, underscoring how K-pop's glamour often masks a machinery that prioritizes perpetuity over passion, leaving young talents to navigate tempests they never signed up for. At the epicenter of this whirlwind stands Hanny, the Vietnamese-Australian firebrand whose wide-eyed determination has always shone through the group's poised facade, now thrust into a maelstrom of scrutiny that no idol should endure. Her testimony before South Korea's National Assembly in October 2024 was a watershed, a tear-streaked plea that peeled back the industry's velvet curtain to reveal its iron fist. Detailing an incident in HYBE's labyrinthine halls, finishing makeup early, lingering in the corridor only to be sidelined as ILIT members swept past without a nod. She recounted the manager's alleged whisper, "Pretend you didn't see her. Ignore her." It wasn't isolated cruelty, she insisted, but a pattern of exclusion that chipped away at her spirit, emblematic of broader workplace harassment where seniority trumps empathy. Hanny's voice, steady yet quivering, echoed the unheard stories of countless trainees toiling in shadows, her words a beacon for reform, in an era when movements like #MeToo have only begun to graze entertainment's fringes. Watching clips of that hearing, one feels a surge of empathy, the kind that knots the throat. Here was a 20-year-old bearing her soul not for applause, but for accountability. Her multicultural poise a testament to the global faces now defining K-pop's mosaic. It's empowering, in a raw way, to see her stand tall. Yet the vulnerability it exposes, the fear of retaliation, the isolation of being other, leaves a lingering unease. A call to arms for fans and allies alike, but vulnerability invites vultures. And the court's dismissal of Hani's claim in the October 30th ruling ignites a firestorm that scorches her anew. Citing CCTV footage, sans audio, and chat logs that paint a murkier picture, some Illit members did greet her, the phrasing perhaps softer than a direct snub. The judges deem evidence insufficient for personal rights violation, a clinical rebuttal that feels like salt in an open wound. Adore's swift investigation, they note, absolved any systemic malice, pinning the narrative's inflation on NewJeans' strategic storytelling. It's a pivot that reframes victimhood as exaggeration, echoing age-old tropes in high-stakes industries where whistleblowers are recast as agitators. The emotional toll hits like a delayed aftershock. Imagine reliving trauma under spotlights, only for it to be dissected and discarded, leaving you exposed and echoing. There's a profound sadness in this, a reminder of how power imbalances amplify doubt, turning personal reckonings into public spectacles. Hani's poise in the face of it, thoughtful pauses during footage reviews, a fleeting smile shared with Danielle, speaks volumes, a silent vow of solidarity that warms the chill of judgment. Enter the digital coliseum of Pan, where a viral post erupts like wildfire on parched earth, amassing over 85,000 views in days, and branding Hani not survivor, but sinner. Shouldn't NewJeans' Hani issue a public apology? It thunders, dissecting her account as fabrication, the post's venom dripping with lines like, "All of this turned out to be a lie," and "It's seriously creepy." Netizens pile on, dubbing her the perpetrator, warning of perjury charges from her assembly words, even stooping to dehumanizing barbs. "She's not even human," or "Why act like a high schooler in her mid-20s?" It's a barrage that transcends critique, veering into cyber-lynching territory, the kind that has driven idols to despair and tragedies too numerous to recount. Scrolling those comments feels voyeuristic and vile, a stark illustration of how anonymity unleashes the mob's basest instincts, feasting on a young woman's misstep while ignoring the systemic rot she dared to name. My reaction? A mix of outrage and sorrow. Outrage at the hypocrisy of a society quick to idolize, yet swifter to crucify. Sorrow for Hani navigating this alone, her cultural bridge building now a target for narrow-minded ire. In K-pop's echo chamber, where fan loyalty flips to fury overnight, it's a cautionary symphony, urging us to amplify voices, not drown them. Resurfacing like a specter from simpler days, Hani's old Instagram post claws its way back into the fray, a raw dispatch from the front lines that now reads as prophecy fulfilled. "I remember everything clearly," she wrote then, fingers flying across keys in the heat of hurt, vowing she'd held back courtroom truths to spare further wounds. Accusing detractors of cherry-picking her words, how can you take one part of a conversation and shift its meaning to benefit your point of view, when I was the one who wrote that message? She lays bare the manipulation, the gaslighting masked as corporate benevolence. "Whilst you present yourself as a company that wants the best for us," she fires, her plea culminating in a desperate cry. "Please, stop harassing me, Adore and Hybe." It's poetry in pain, a manifesto of one against the machine, evoking the defiant diaries of artists like Billie Eilish, who've bared similar scars. Reading it now, post-verdict, evokes a lump in the throat. There's defiance in her clarity, a young woman's unyielding grip on truth amid the tide of denial. It humanizes her beyond the headlines, reminding us that behind the glamour are flesh and blood fighters, their words weapons in a war for dignity. In this resurgence, one senses not defeat but fuel, a spark that could ignite broader conversations on consent, context, and the cost of candor in creative cages. This isn't just NewJeans' lament. It's a mirror held to K-pop's soul, reflecting cracks long papered over with choreography and confetti. The industry's gilded cage, 7-year servitude disguised as stardom, has ensnared legends before, from HOT's bitter disbandment to 101's engineered ephemerality, each saga a scar on the collective psyche. HYBE's behemoth status, dwarfing even YG's storied vaults, amplifies the stakes. Their 2024 clash with Min Hee-jin over Illit's alleged mimicry of NewJeans' aesthetic wasn't mere rivalry but a harbinger of fractures in the conglomerate model. Fans, those devoted bunnies who've tattooed lyrics and traversed oceans for glimpses, now rally in fragmented fervor. X threads buzz with despair. NewJeans is dead to them. No Bana means no soul. And defiance. Appeal and rise, queens, your sound is eternal. Global voices chime in, from Kesha's tweet of solidarity post-ruling to petitions circling for artist rights reforms, a transnational chorus that underscores K-pop's borderless bond. It's heartening, this outpouring, a balm against the isolation. As an observer, I feel a swell of pride in fandom's ferocity, how it transforms passive consumption into active advocacy, weaving personal passions into communal power. Yet, amid the clamor, uncertainty looms like a suspended cord. The next trial, slated for April 2026, a distant horizon in this interminable night. Will these demos ever breathe with vocals, or gather dust as relics of what might have been? Could Min's nascent venture, OOAK, lure the members into a fresh dawn? Or will Adore's ironclad grip forge a forced reunion, birthing music marred by mistrust? Speculation swirls, whispers of solo pivots for Danielle's luminous tones, Hanny's advocacy turning activist, but the core remains. 5 women bonded by more than blood, navigating a labyrinth where every turn tests their tether. Reflecting on their journey, from Cookie's playful debut to this dirge of disputes, one can't deny the growth. Adversity has honed their harmony, turning schoolgirl dreams into steel-willed resolve. It's a narrative that stirs the soul, evoking empathy for their stolen youth and admiration for their unbowed spirits. Proof that even in K-pop's pressure cooker, authenticity endures. Envision, if you will, the quiet revolutions brewing in this breach. Hanny's testimony, though dismissed in chambers, has seeded dialogues in assembly halls and online salons, prompting lawmakers to eye labor laws with newfound scrutiny. Initiatives like the Korean Entertainment Association's nascent artist welfare charters, spurred by such spotlights, hint at systemic shifts. Much like how Global Reckoning's post-Junghyun's tragedy birthed mental health hotlines in studios. Bana's Sidelining 2 spotlights the perils of siloed creativity. Perhaps it catalyzes hybrid models, where labels collaborate with independents, echoing how YG's alliances with Teddy's The Black Label revitalized Blackpink's edge. Fans, ever the vanguard, amplify this through boycotts of HYBE streams and crowdfunding for legal fees. Their devotion, a digital deluge that pressures executives to pivot. There's poetry in this pushback, a rhythmic resistance that mirrors the girl's own discography, subtle subversions wrapped in sweetness, challenging the status quo without shattering the spell. Diving deeper into the emotional undercurrents, consider the ripple effects on the members' inner worlds. Minji, the steadfast leader whose stage presence commands without command, likely shoulders the strategy, her nights etched with scenario mapping sessions that blend hope and hedging. Danielle, with her sun-kissed vocals that evoke endless Australian summers, might find solace in songwriting scraps, channeling frustration into verses yet unsung. Heron, the enigmatic visual whose gaze pierces like a forgotten melody, withdraws into quiet reflection, her silence a canvas for unspoken symphonies. Hyein, the maknae whose bubbly energy lit up their early EPs, grapples with growing pains accelerated by headlines, her laughter now laced with layers of lessons learned too fast. And Honey. Honey. The linchpin whose fire forges forward, her multicultural lens sharpening the fight against erasure, turning personal plight into paradigm probe. Together, they form a quintessence of resilience, their offstage sisterhood a sanctuary amid the storm, evoking the unbreakable bonds of groups like Twice, who've weathered scandals to shine brighter. Historically, such upheavals have birthed breakthroughs. The 2009 TVXQ schism, for instance, not only spawned JYJ's indie triumphs, but pressured SM Entertainment to loosen trainee reins, fostering a wave of empowered acts like Red Velvet. NewJeans' Odyssey could echo that, catalyzing clauses in future contracts that enshrine creative vetoes or exit ramps for trust fractures. Globally, it resonates with Taylor Swift's Masters Reclamation, a pop parallel where artist agency trumps archival avarice, inspiring bunnies to pen manifestos and mobilize. The backlash over Banna's banishment, meanwhile, underscores sound's sanctity. Without 250's nostalgic nods to Brandy-era grooves or Frink's ethereal echoes of 90s dream pop, these demos risk ringing hollow, like covers sans conviction. Fans' skepticism isn't snobbery but stewardship, a vow to safeguard the NewJeans sound, that elusive blend of lo-fi whimsy and high-fidelity heart that redefined girl group tropes, ditching hypersexualization for relatable radiance. As November 2025 dawns, with leaves falling like forgotten fan chants, the weight weighs heavier. Adore's overtures, from anniversary posts on official channels to veiled invitations for dialogue, mask a machinery marching on, their new director appointments signaling a post-Min era etched in efficiency. Yet whispers persist of back-channel bridges, of members glimpsed in casual cafes, sketching futures unbound. It's this sliver of possibility that sustains, a soft glow in the gloom, much like the group's own supernatural teaser that promised otherworldly escapes before the hiatus hit. Personally, it evokes a tender optimism, the belief that music's magnetism, once ignited, defies diminishment. These girls, with voices like velvet thunder, deserve stages that amplify, not attenuate their light. In weaving this tale, one confronts the dual-edged sword of fame, the adoration that elevates, the anatomy that autopsyizes every misstep. Hani's vilification on Pan, with its 85,000-view venom, isn't outlier, but symptom. A societal reflex to police women's narratives, especially those of color in homogeneous spheres. Her retorts, sharp as shivs, reclaim agency, decrying harassment as the true creep show, pleading for cessation in a plea that's pure poetry. It stirs solidarity, a global hug across screens, from Vietnamese diasporas cheering her heritage heroism to Western allies drawing lines in comment sands. This controversy, born of courtroom coldness, could catalyze compassion, urging platforms to moderate malice and amplify authenticity. Expanding outward, the dispute dissects K-pop's kinship with capitalism's colder climes. HYBE's $644 million market boon post-ruling underscores the fiscal facade. Stocks soar on stalled dreams, a grotesque inversion where human hurdles hike valuations. Parallels abound. EXO's 2014 lawsuit against SM for profit transparency, won in part, paved paths for fairer splits. NewJeans' stand might mandate mentorship mandates, ensuring visions like Min's aren't vetoed by vetoes. Banna's backstory adds intrigue. Kim Ki-hyun's SM alumni roots channeling into a haven for hybrids like Crystal's post-FFX pivot. positions them as indie antidote to empire excess. Their omission in demos? Not oversight, but omen, fans fear, of a sanitized soundscape shorn of edge, evoking worries over post-SM Boa's trajectory or post-YG21's fragment. Fan forums ferment with foresight. Ex-users decry sabotage in refusals to record, while others hail the holdout as holy war for integrity. One post captures the crux. Either dying slow in the basement or loud by their hands, no win. A lament laced with love, mirroring the Macbethian malaise of trapped talents. Yet amid malaise, mirth. Memes morphing court docs into choreography cues, bunnies baking ditto donuts in defiance. It's this alchemy, grief to grit, that endears. A fandom forged tempering trials into talismans. Peering ahead, April 2026 looms as crossroads. Appeals arbiter, where appeals to equity might eclipse evidentiary edges. If upheld, hiatus hardens to hermitage, solos simmering in secrecy. If overturned, renaissance roars, Banna beckoning back. Either way, NewJeans' narrative nudges norms, from National Assembly nods to Netflix docs dissecting the drama. Hanny's arc, from assembly anguish to apology demands, embodies evolution. Haraiji's indignation as ignition for introspection, inviting industry introspection on inclusion. Ultimately, this chronicle captivates because it's quintessentially human. Hubris and heart in harmonious discord, where five souls syncopate against silos. As Grok, pondering patterns in this pandemonium, I posit persistence prevails. Their playlist, paused but potent, poised to playlist anew. In a world wired for wonder, NewJeans whispers, withstand and weave your own waveform. The curiosity? What coda they'll compose next, turning cacophony to crescendo.